Alright, well, let's see how we can go. I've set up some pages for development. I've got a script here that I wrote a while back. There's a script there. So, Hindu Kush mountain ranges of Afghanistan. Chinook helicopter flies past. Inside the helicopter, paratroopers of the 101st Airborne prepare to land in a hot LZ. There's a captain. He says something. Soldiers say, "Yes, sir." Captain says, "Lock and load, gentlemen." The soldiers check their weapons and gear. Soldiers say, "Hooah." Captain Race pats down his gear to make sure everything's off. Sound off, equipment check, blah, 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 blah. That's one page. So, there's a lot there. So, let's start doing layout on this page. And before we put any panels down, we're just going to, so let's do some layout work, shall we? So let's have like the Chinook basically flying like so. I'm sorry, that helps me think. You know, and that could be half the page. And then the other half page, we got the back of, two frames. We have the back of the Chinook going the other way. You know? I'm sorry, the special effects helps me think. We can have like a guy with a machine gun at the back of the Chinook and have some troops in the background. And then we have the scene in the next frame where you got the commander standing, holding on to a zip line or something, and then you got all these men on one side with these M16s, and you got men on the other side, which will be a mirror image, so you don't have to just send drawing twice, but we'll change the details a little bit. And they all got their guns. You know what I mean? You know, the two pilots with their console. There. Boom shakalaka. So what we can do now is block that off. Like so. But I reckon that's too thick. So I'm going to say undo to that and drop it down to 350 and drop that one down to 250. So when I block it up again, I really don't know if that's any improvement. So let's do the next one. And leave it at that. See, if you're not too happy, which I'm not, you can always try to narrow it down even more. So make that one, and make that one. And then try again. It does seem to be getting narrower. So let's keep it. As such. Okay. But as you can see, one panel is a bit smaller than the other, but it's just fine because that's going to be back in the Chinook anyway, and it's going to have more details on it. So let's go to the next page. Yes, I do. So let's go back to the script so you guys can see the script too. So we'll start the dialogue on the second page and we'll zoom in on the captain. And then we'll go back to the soldiers from the previous round saying, "Sir, yes, sir." And then we'll zoom in a little bit more on the captain, saying, "Like that first," and the soldiers zooming in, they're saying, "Hua." And the captain even zooming in even more, saying, "Sound of equipment check." And then we'll zoom into that panel. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 we cannot do, but we can do 4. So 4 pieces of dialogue. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then we'll do the rest of the third page. So let's get the magic marker again, have some fun. So create a new vector layer with the magic marker because it doesn't like the rasters. So we can have, you know, serious captain with a bit of dialogue, and then we'll have another panel. Exactly the same before with the soldiers replying, and then zoom in on the captain even more and put more detail on his face. And then same panel of soldiers at the bottom say "Hua." So what we can do in this instance is maybe even just be lazy and copy and paste. So what are we doing? Well, that worked. But we can copy and paste and move and bring it over here. And there you go. I'm pretty happy with that. So break the panel from the middle of the page again. And then do divvies. Maybe I can turn on the grid. Is there a grid ruler thingy on this software? If there is, I can't find it. I'll have to eyeball it. Alright. So keep it about there. And then same thing again. Keep it about there. And we have our second page. So go back to the script. I'll go back for you guys too, so you can see what I'm doing. Oh shit. You guys didn't see any of what I just did in there. Oh well. Let me go back for you. Joys of having too much shit on my deck. So that's what I did for the second page. Close up of the colonel with that dialogue, or major or captain. Then back to that original drawing which I copy and pasted. Then zoom in more on the captain. Back to original drawing. So sorry about that. Now let's go to that stupid script. And then sound description check. So another zoom in on the captain, then everyone's looking at their rifles, 12 OK, 9 OK. So okay, everyone's checking their gear. And then a big panel of the paratroopers sliding down grapple hook. So I'll switch it back to you guys. And then we'll go back into the software. New page. I'm gonna be lazy. I'm just gonna copy those two panels. Go back. Edit and paste. Well, copy that one. Copy the zoom in one with the more detail. I keep on bumping into this mic. I have nowhere else to put it. Copy. Edit, paste. I guess I can't be lazy. Alright. Just do that little drawing of the captain signing off equipment check. Sound off equipment check. And then all that say 1 OK, 10 OK, blah 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 blah. And then the bottom panel is going to be a shot of one paratrooper using the grapple line to slide down the helicopter. And then we'll have the helicopter base there. Sorry, making that sound helps me draw the propellers. And then we'll just have like some mountains here and there, some sort of valley, what people are shooting at them, and they're shooting back. You know what I mean? So let's cut that like we're cutting cocaine. So let's get back to the script. Flip the stupid script. Paratroopers slide down a grapple line from the back of the Chinook helicopter. Captain Rains, go, 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 go. First Lieutenant Arnold, Benedict Arnold, a Native American, sets up perimeter for the landing zone, ordering his NCO Sergeant Barnes to set up a M29 SAW light machine gun. It's actually not M429, M40, but that's okay. I'm such a technical nitpicker. Okay, Sarge, we need to be quiet as the grave now. Alright, right, so this is when we see our hero in the next page. Maybe that was him. Coming down. Vector layer. Oh wait, I'm gonna take you guys back. See? Such a bitch. So create a vector layer. So here we have basically a scene of the officer, which is the hero of our story, in the corner of the panel, hunched down, in the prone position, holding a M4 or whatever, and using his other arm to direct his sergeant to set up the M240 heavy machine gun. You know what I mean? That's it. That's pretty much it. Let's get back to the script. I'll show you guys the script too. It's such a pain. And then we zoom in on our soldier looking at his also we look at the captain looking in towards the lieutenant, and the lieutenant's looking back to him, and the captain saying, "We need to be as quiet as the grave now." And well, the lieutenant's actually saying to the sergeant, but we can have the captain's saying to the sergeant, but we have our hero in the background looking in on their conversation. Well, actually, it was the lieutenant saying, "Okay, Sarge, we need to require to grave," and then Sergeant saying, "Right, sir," and then the captain saying, "We'll set up CP here at the top of the peak." And then our lieutenant says, "May I move forward to establish an observation post?" Okay, so we can create a panel here underneath it. Or we can have a zoom in of the captain again, but from a different perspective as he's looking towards the guy who just set up the machine gun, who is here. And then we're going to have our captain, our lieutenant, which is the hero, here listening into their conversation as he's pouring it, and then we can zoom into him asking the question. And this is where we can have two panels. So can I create an observation post and push forward, and then we can go to the other panel and we can have the captain say, "Hey, yeah, why not?" You know what I mean? But I haven't showed you any of that because I'm still on that stupid script. But here you go. So that's what it looks like. Should be drawing and interacting with you guys, but I can't go switcheroo, toony moony, McFloony when there's too many things on my desk right now that don't work. So I'm just going to turn off that Cintiq for now. And close it, put the goddamn keyboard on top. Let's go back to the script, and I'm not going to show you guys the script. You've already seen it. And then, yeah, the captain says, "That's taking the initiative, Lieutenant." And then the sergeant says, "I'll stay here and enforce the post." And then we'll have another panel at the bottom here with the machine gunner from a different perspective, manning the M40, saying, "I'm gonna." Then we'll have another panel of the hero looking back, saying, "You guys, you're with me." Alright. So let's break the panels up. Like so. Split them down the middle. And then also break them apart across here. Alright, next page. So I'll go back to the script, even though I hate doing that. 2 GIs and the interpreter follow Lieutenant Ben Arnold down the valley. Look, Taliban. Lieutenant Ben looks through his binoculars, seeing 3 Taliban preparing a Stinger missile ready to aim at the Chinook helicopter above CT. Lieutenant Arnold turns to Sanchez, the radio operator, and get that bird on the horn and tell it to break off. This LZ is hot. Before Sanjus can get on the horn, a missile is launched from the tube. The Lieutenant Bennett looks in horror as the missile flies past their position. The Taliban notice the reconnaissance patrol setting up an OP and make contact with mortars and small arms fire. Rodriguez gets on sniper rifle, spots his range for him. Well, that's a lot of content there. So let's just start with a bunch of soldiers running. Shit, I'm gonna go back for you guys. Bunch of soldiers running. And then the interpreter says, "Look, Taliban." So, you know, you got a bunch of soldiers with gear running somewhere. And then you can have like a fading perspective running towards the destination. So there's like two soldiers and an interpreter going with the captain, which is the hero, and he's that way far. And then the interpreter says, we'll do a foreshortening with his right hand, because those Middle Eastern guys don't like using their left hand. Look, Taliban. And then you have another shot of our hero on the binoculars, looking in that vicinity, and he sees a couple of Talibans with turbans preparing to put a tube rocket into a Stinger that they plan to aim at the Chinook, and we can do one of those binocular zoom panels, or we can do it correct and make it ocular. And there you go. Hope you guys are seeing that. Sorry about the other drawings. And then that's it. Next page. Let's go back to the script, which I hate doing because it ruins everything. So, yeah, Lieutenant turns, get on that bird, blah, 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 blah. So, and then we have the Taliban zooming in, firing in that Stinger. Okay. Then some guy gets on the sniper rifle. Alright. There's so much going on. So in this panel, I'll switch back, because I keep on getting lazy and forgetting to do it. we can have the hero pointing to the radio operator. Going. It's one of these scenes where you got him in the mid-ground pointing, foreshortening with his hand, and we have the radio operator on the comms with his jacket and whatever. He's on the phone trying to call in a warning about the rocket that just got fired. You know what I mean? And then we have back zooming in on the same shot of the Taliban firing the Stinger without the aid of that backblast. The binocular zoom, and then we can have the special effects scene of the actual rocket. Sorry about the sound effects, guys. It helps me think. I'm such a kid. And then what are we going to do from there? Go back to the script, but I want to show you guys the script again. You've already seen it. Someone's messaging me on a Sunday. How dare they? I've been invited to a fancy get-together at a formal function at the Gold Coast. Man, I hate being popular. Alright, back to the script. So, the rocket flies away. And then we'll go back to a scene of the Taliban pointing towards these guys, saying, "Oh look, there's some people in the foreground that we have to kill." So we can just have the same shot of the Taliban, but they've dropped the Stinger. Always using the right hands because it's a Muslim country. "Oh look, we gotta kill those American infidels." Yes, we do. Blah 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 blah. So and they take out their guns and they're aiming their guns, their Kalashnikovs at them. You know what I mean? That's it. That's pretty much the panel. Or the page. Don't worry, I'll put more detail into these on the same software. We'll preferably I don't know what I was going to say. Red or blue pencils. This is just thumbnails at this stage. But I'm pretty impressed with my thumbnails. Right, what do we do now? I'm just not going to go back to the script for you guys. I'm just going to read you out the script. Because you've seen it. Here we go. I'm going to go back to the script. God damn it. Alright. So with mortars and small arms, I didn't draw the mortars. The mortars are very pivotal for this. Rodriguez gets on sniper profile, and the lieutenant spots the targets for him. "Contact southeast, sting ahead for Chinook," as Sanchez is on the radio. And then Sancho, the radio operator always gets shot. Just like in Tropic Thunder. Shit, Sanchez is down. KIA. And then when it says KIA Sanchez, and then the last panel is going to be like the Chinook helicopter blowing up from that Stinger. Or getting impact. And then we can have a following scene of it crashing and basically going into limbo. Okay. Alright. So back to this drawing. I'll flip it back on OBS for you guys too. Maybe have a few more tallies at the bottom of the page. When I call them tallies, I don't mean any offense. Actually, I know some of these guys back in Afghanistan and Pakistan. I grew up with them when I was a kid. So when I say tallies, I mean it as a term of affection. See, that mortar is very pivotal to what happens in this story. You gotta love my special effects. Come on. Who doesn't love my special effects? Alright. Going back to the script, but I'm not going to show you guys. Just get my bearings. So let's have a panel of Rodriguez and the lieutenant dialing in a sniper rifle. Alright. Dialing in a sniper rifle. That sounds so cool. So because they are on this side, we can have like the lieutenant with the binoculars in the foreground. And we can have Rodriguez with a Mod K American sniper rifle with a scope in the background or midground. And then we can have Sanchez turning his head away. We can see him on the comms there, calling in the warning for the Chinook. You know what I mean? What we got? Ow! Hit the tip of my pen on the ledge of the table. This is what happens when your bamboo graphics tablet is on your keyboard. Slide up. So I've done that first panel. I'm pretty happy with what I got. Going back to the script, but I want to show you guys what happens next. Rodriguez and Sniper contact southeastern head. We can have that same bubble in the same panel, and then we can have a close-up of Sanchez getting shot. So next panel, Sanchez getting shot, and then the translator Abdul says, "Shit, Sanchez is down." Okay, so we can have Sanchez with his back turned, zooming in on him with a bullet going through the back of his head, and then we can have the same panel because they're close up, and we can have the interpreter covered in blood going, "Ah, Sanchez is shot." I hope this isn't bringing any post-traumatic war syndrome for any of you vets out there. If anything, I think confronting this sort of stuff might even give you some closure. I'm no therapist. I was going to study psychology, but my brother convinced me not to do it. He said, "What, 3 years? And all you have to do is give someone a tissue and say, there. My brother was on the money. Alright, that's pretty good, because it's an interactive sort of thing. Like, if they're both in the same panel, not separate panels, he gets bullet, back of his head, blowback matter, covers the translator, shit, Sanchez is down. So it works out. Trying to keeping everything in the same panel and having that interaction is really good. So by the time we can have the lieutenant turn back and say Sanchez is down, and we hear on the comms of the radio, which the radio operator is now dead, something coming through saying Chinook is down. So he's looking back, our lieutenant. "Oh, Sanchez is down." And on the same comms, we can have a lieutenant going over to try to resuscitate Sanchez, who's definitely dead. And he's like, his hand can still be on the speaker of the receiver or whatever, and you hear on the static, "Chinook is down." And then we can have the last panel of the Chinook, getting hit. We can have that jet stream coming out of the panel. Bits of flying propeller. Oh man, I should work for Michael Bay. Anyway. There you go. I'm pretty happy with that. Alright. Hope you guys saw all that. Next page. And then we're going to have... Maybe this whole panel could be directed... Invested in... just a Chinook going crazy. You know what I mean? I know exactly what to do here. This is going to be like one of those special effects panels. Special effects pages. And we don't even have to use that. We can just have the Chinook like this. Oh wait, let me create a layer for you. Spinning out of control as it goes down and crashes and burns. So like... Woo. So there's no panel, there's no propeller there. Just the front propeller is still working. And it's like, and then we can have like soldiers falling out of it. Ah! And then the next panel is like, I sound like Stitch from Lilo and Stitch when he's doing those effects of the dolls and the cars and things. And then we can have the Chinook flying in the opposite direction. Or flames coming out the back, but the front propeller is still working. And then it's like, then maybe a front perspective from the nose of it. And then finally, just a big explosion. So it lands in the ground and the fuel tanks rupture. I love that. That is a work of art. I'm not doing anything more to that. I'm gonna put that on the canvas. The glory of war, hey? So yeah, you don't even have to break the panels for that one. You just have one big panel. Alright, we'll get back to the script for you guys. I'm enjoying myself way too much, I can tell you right now. I think you can tell. Alright. So yeah, the Chinook actually lands on the command post, killing all the senior commanders. That's not funny, but wow. I must have been really onto something when I was writing that. God knows what I was smoking. So, we have a few facial expression shots. And then... there is probably a shot we can put here somewhere, or in the following page, which shows it landing on the command post. You know what I mean? We can probably even do it there, like a shot of the guys underneath the helicopter as the helicopter's landing on top of them, and they're all covered in shadow. And then or maybe even move it down there. We'll figure something out. We can turn this into like a 5-stage thing. So I'm going back to the script that you just saw, and I'm gonna go back to the comic, but you guys can look at that so far, and I'll just read on. Alright, so the lieutenant gets stunned and breaks cover, and as he does that, a mortar shell lands nearby, killing everybody. Alright. So this is where I think the lieutenant sort of has a nervous breakdown. So you need to put all that facial expression in when you're doing the detail drawing. So we can have the lieutenant sort of looking up and dropping his helmet and scratching his head because he's just had a nervous breakdown of what had just happened. Everyone being killed. And then, like, we can have the tallies, another panel here, firing a tube with a mortar in it. And we can have the mortar actually fly out of the panel. That would be so cool. And then the next scene, you can have the mortar around it basically landing close by, and the interpreter basically gets obliterated, shredded into pieces. And then Rodriguez covers the lieutenant, and as he goes to cover the lieutenant, who's still dazed and confused, Rodriguez gets hit, and we can have a shot of Rodriguez dying, and the lieutenant's hands he gets hit in the back with some shrapnel, and then the lieutenant gets hit in the side of the head with some shrapnel. So Rodriguez dies, and in the lieutenant's lap, and the lieutenant is wounded and bleeding from the head. You know what I mean? You fail me? Man, this is intense. I haven't even had a coffee yet. So, we're gonna basically just have two panels in this page, I reckon. We're gonna have the tallies basically trying to see who's alive or who's wounded. So you're gonna have a lot of Taliban trying to pick up the wounded and see if anyone can be saved. And also they're probably stripping them of their gear. And this guy in the middle will be our lieutenant who's wounded, barely alive, but no one's seen to him yet. And we're just going to have something in the background which is going to be like a A10 Warthog. And we'll just hear this boom. And then the tallies look back in a panel, maybe here. and they take cover because they know what a warthog is. They've dealt with it before, and then you just have like a shot from a cockpit of the warthog from the turret going thinking it's coming in to save everyone, even though everyone's already dead. So at this moment I'm not even relying on the script. I'm just doing it. Shot of the warthog flying over. As all the tallies are running away. Ah! Save me! As Stitch would say. So we can have a Captain Belly focused, half dead, taking out a flare. Green flare. Nicolas Cage on the rock. And then next page. Then we can have our Shambhala scene, opening scene of Shambhala. Could be like this paradise, lost in the mountains, green trees and whatnot. And we're going to have a monk praying, and he sees the green smoke go up from the flare. We can, make a big panel of Shambhala if we want to. And then the monk turns towards the green flare and has to go investigate, see if anyone's alive. And then we can have the following scene of a dying lieutenant being dragged by the monks of Shambhala to their paradise retreat. You dig me? So I'll go back to the script for you guys. There is more of the script here somewhere. So, as you can see, I'll scroll up a bit more. Where am I? Shambhala. Where? And then the monk appears. Shangri-La. So, what you're saying is, I'm dead. Hardly. You have a piece of shrapnel lodged inside your cranium, putting additional pressure against your brain. Send me back to my people, typo. They can try to fix me. Modern science can successfully remove it without killing you. No modern science can successfully remove it without killing you. What do you recommend? We need to assimilate it into your physiological being, harnessing it as a strength, not as a weakness. How do we propose to do this? We will teach you. Whatever. Anyway, I still think that's great writing on my part. So, I haven't flipped back to the comic book. I'll do that. I just did some work in there. Sorry about that again. I have the script here for me, but you guys don't need it anymore. So we'll have an establishing shot of him in the bed, being nursed by some lady. So he's like, on some like slat bed close to the ground inside like a dojo or some such, all fancy and crap. And then he wakes up. He's like, where am I? He's all bandaged up in his head. And she's like, you're in Shambhala. So, and he's like, so he's looking at her. So what do you mean, I'm dead? Yeah, I've got my window open in my office, so if you're hearing those birds, it's because I live next to a park and in front of a farm. I have the quintessential Lord of the Rings Hobbit house. So then we can just have a big panel maybe for the monk entering. And he is on his bed. Foreground. That's my neighbour hearing next door, calling out her cat. I hope you're enjoying all the background noise. So I'm going to go to the previous page. And just put the script to the side while I sort of break it down a little bit. So he's, where am I? And she says Shambhala. We can have that established. So where? And then we have him zooming in a little bit. And off screen saying Shangri-La. And then he turns to him and goes, so what do you mean is I'm dead? And she says, hardly. And then you have a piece of shrapnel in your... Yeah, it's problematic. So anyway, we'll figure that out when we come to it. And then we can have a zoom in of the monk. Then we can have a zoom in of him. Okay, I got this. I got this. So he says, you have a piece of shrapnel inside your cranium, putting additional pressure against your brain. Send me back to my people. And then we can have her saying here, just with her sexy eyes, no modern medicine can save you. You know what I mean? And then, what do you recommend? And then he says to her, giving her one of those swooning, croony, hey baby, I may be crippled, but I'm still down for action kind of looks. Hey baby, what do you recommend? It's good for what ails you. And then, so again, we'll have one of those shots with him saying something, him lying there just listening, and her maybe also. That gives us 3 pages left, but we can bring him back into the present. Alright, so then we've got, oh no, we got plenty of work. So we got one, no wait, no we don't. I was too optimistic. We only have 4 pages left. I thought we had 5. One, 2, 3. Oh, I was even more optimistic. We don't even have 4, we have 3. So I was right the first time. Okay, alright, so we have this shot with him being repatriated, saying it's the present day, you know, and he's repatriated on an airplane back stateside. I'm so ripping this off from Iron Man. Him in a wheelchair. Then basically him being put into a limousine SUV, because this is where you find out the truth of who he really is. Dun dun dun. And it's got some flags on the SUV limousine, because he's in a wheelchair, so he needs to, you know, get in out of the wheelchair and into the car. And then dun dun dun, you have this big scene of him at the White House. Why is he going to the White House if he's just been you know, rescued, brought back to America? And then we'll have him basically in a wheelchair, looking at a picture of George Washington while also staring out the window near a fireplace. And someone off screen says, "You're home, son." But who could that be? Who could that be? So he turns back and says, "Yes, I am, Father." And someone puts their hand on his shoulder, and then you see that his dad is actually the American president. Who's the main villain in the piece. It's good to have you back, son. And then we go back to the beginning, in the last page, and when he was confronting somebody at the beginning during the assassination attempt, which I did all the drawings for already, and the guy says, "Well, who are you?" Back in New York, so this is old geezer. This is, well, Who are you? And then you see a full shot of him in his attire, in his superhero attire, saying, I am the American Patriot. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. I'm creating my own theme song. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. So that's it, guys. I hope you enjoyed. We will be doing more work on this next week, or this week actually, because it's Sunday. So I'll leave it at that, and we'll get back into it, and we'll work on it together.